What a performance by Kamaru Usman, making a case to be the greatest welterweight of all time. GSP currently holds that, but he is well on his way to making it happen. We got to get some more perspective here. Chael, Sonnen, Michael Chiesa. First of all, you guys picked this fight. You picked all three championship fights correctly, so I'll give you that credit now. But Chael, let's start with this main event. Not just the fact that Usman won, but the fashion in which he won. What was your takeaway?
The threat of the takedown is what opened up that knockout. Usman could threaten that takedown. He scored one a couple of minutes before Masvidal knew that was coming. You can level the playing field in a striking game, even if you're not as good, if you're just faking. If you're faking, if you get those reactions, boom, one comes over the top.
Michael, that's the thing. Like, we saw that Usman has that ability to get guys on the ground, and we saw it in the first round. He had Masvidal. He was controlling it. But that right hand has been lethal in his career, and it caught Masvidal tonight.
Yeah, 100%. And I love the way he set it up. He threw a beautiful lead hook to the cross. And if you go back and watch the replay in slow motion, Kamaru threw the left lead hook, and he actually caught Masvidal's right hand and pulled it down like a slot machine lever, threw that right hand right down the middle, caught him flush. And there was no coming back from that shot. That's just, it's not just the right hand. It's the little things leading up to it that made it so impressive.
The 9th career knockout for Usman. He's now won 14 straight fights in the UFC. That's the second longest win streak to start a UFC career. But also, maybe just as stunning, this is just the second time in his professional career, guys, that Jorge Masvidal has been knocked out. He went the distance with him back in July on short notice, Mike. So do you think Masvidal was maybe not thinking that he could get knocked out by Usman and basically got caught slipping?
Well, you know, just to be completely honest with you, Michael, from my previous experience with Masvidal, and I'm not a guy with the greatest set of stand-up skills, especially when I fought him. I caught him with a hard shot and floored him. And in the past, Masvidal has been caught with hard shots, but he's always kind of leaned on that granite chin he has where he can bounce back from a hard shot. And usually that kind of wakes him up and lights a fire under his butt. But that wasn't the case tonight. That was too much power for him to absorb that kind of punch. There was no way he could get back to his feet after that. I mean, he was out right when it landed. The ref could have stopped it right then and there, but I think it's just him relying on his toughness, and that's just not something you could have going into this rematch.
Yeah, the last time he was knocked out, 2008. That was 13 years ago. This was his 50th professional fight. Chael, Usman says he wants to keep getting better. He has a wrestling background, trying to get his striking up to, even a better level than it is now. With what he did to Masvidal right now, how would you assess his overall skill set? Granted, he's the champion, but still continues to get better seemingly each time we see him.
Eves, I'll tell you this. Most of Usman's hard work is already in the rearview mirror, unless we're going to see the rematch tour. And I heard you compare him to the great George St. Pierre, but one thing St. Pierre did, he went through them all, and then he went through them all a second time. It appears that Usman, including with this rematch tonight, I think he's going to draw into Covington. If he draws into Covington, now we're talking about St. Pierre territory. We're talking about doing something and then proving it a second time. But in many ways, if Usman was to look for parity, I really believe some of his hardest work is already behind him. So you talk about getting better, he's also going to look a lot better.
Be hard to look any better than he did tonight. What an impressive performance against Jorge Masvidal 1 minute into the second round. While we have you guys, I do want to get your reaction real quickly to what we saw from Rose Namajunas tonight, taking down Zhang Weili to regain her championship belt, the first woman to ever win the same championship twice. Again, both of you guys expected Rose to win this fight, but Chael, the manner in which she did it with that leg kick that put Zhang on the ground for the first time in her career.
And not to mention quickly, right? I mean, to set up the champion, to not only get through and land at that target, but to set her up and to disguise it and to do it that quickly. Look, I just didn't know about Rose, and she's a personal friend of mine. Is she a good fighter? Sure. Is she a great fighter? Oh, okay. One of the best of all time? I just simply didn't know that. I know that now. I apologize, Rose, and I will address you properly moving forward, champ.
Yeah, there you go, champ. Start with that part right there. Michael, what did you see tonight from Rose besides that kick that impressed you the most against Zhang Weili?
Well, just everything leading up to the kick was very impressive. There was just a lot of movement, and that's what Rose needed to stay ahead of Weili. If you plant your feet in the ground the way that Joanna did, you're going to have some problems, because if you plant your feet, Weili's going to be able to start blitzing you with her combinations and start using her power. And just it made the fight a lot easier with Rose being more mobile and being on her feet. And she set up that kick so perfect. You don't see those kinds of knockouts at 115 pounds. It just doesn't happen, especially that fast. I mean, that had the pace and the speed of like a heavyweight title fight. It was a first-round knockout. You just don't see it in that weight class, and that was so impressive from Rose Namajunas. What a fight.
By the way, her second career knockout, and both of them have come when she was challenging for the title. Talk about bringing your best when you need it the most. All right, so that was 2 of the 3 championship fights we had on this card, but let's go to the first one. Valentina Shevchenko taking on Jessica Andrade. And you talk about impressive all-around skill set. In this bout, Andrade actually thought, Michael, that she had a chance to maybe out-wrestle and out-grapple Shevchenko, but that was not the case at all.
No, and I'm wondering if it's getting to the point with Valentina being as good as she is, where when she hears what her opponents say, what they plan on doing, that she's like, okay, note taken, I'm going to beat you with what you plan on beating me with. She's just that good, and she made Chael look like a genius because he had been talking about it this whole week about how Valentina was going to wrestle Andrade and that was going to be her path to victory. And I was a little skeptical of Chael's assessment, but he was Nostradamus tonight. She looked sensational. The wrestling was great. The finish was awesome. And it just makes her such a double threat because she's so known for her stand-up. But these last 2 fights, she's been putting females away on the ground with her top position and her ground and pound and her wrestling. I mean, just essentially a double threat across the board at 125 pounds.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.